Hey guys, what's up? So, with the reduction of certain countries in their coronavirus cases, certain countries are starting to open up, and as a result, we've now got plans for Japan to lift outside of its state of emergency. As such, Konami is trying to start some of their events. About the general events, they're planning to start as of the beginning of June 2020. However, there will be some, restrictions that's a given. The whole thing about social distancing and the 2 meter rule. They'll ensure seating that follows social distancing guidelines. Stores and events are to restrict the number of players available at a time based on this. Therefore, even the bigger events that happen, of course, you'll have more people, but they're going to have to require, much less than what they would hold in a normal tournament. Even at locals, I would imagine most stores are quite small. So you're going to have maybe independent matches happening, maybe so that everyone can kind of change around and not be in the same space as each other. This is going to be a bit of a logistical nightmare, considering that this is something I've witnessed myself. Say, for example, like a shopping outlet. What ends up happening is you can usually have the 2 meters lengthwise, but the spaces between the shopping aisles don't permit for a 2 meters width problem. So you can't exactly go past each other. In fact, we're actually given directions on the floor, as in which aisles you can go up and which ones you have to go down. But people kind of linger, so this is also in itself a problem. So it also says to ensure droplets are not spread onto the opponents, everyone is to wear masks at all times, and they're to install acrylic plates and so such between players and opponents as needed. So these will kind of be borders between them to avoid, anyone kind of breathing into each other. The whole thing is that when you breathe, you spread the virus through your kind of like vapor. Stores must provide hand sanitizer to use upon entering and leaving the store. That is also quite understandable. The best way to kill the virus is through the washing of hands. But in the UK at the moment, they're actually they don't have any public bathrooms, or very minimal, because they know the virus can be gotten rid through your body, and they don't want the risk of the virus to spread any further, so they're pretty much trying to discourage it. The hand sanitizer is just kind of like a substitute for that. Not so much a substitute, just as a means to kind of reinforce the hand hygiene. Stores are to be regularly ventilated. It's to do with the fact that if you're kind of in an outside environment, you're less likely to catch the disease than if you're in a very closed-off environment. So actually, by ventilating better, you help to circulate the air a bit more, leading to reductions in maybe cases occurring. Tables and chairs must be regularly disinfected. I'm going to assume that's going to be after each match, so that the next set of opponents doesn't end up in that kind of situation. This is going to probably increase the turnaround on the events, because you're going to have to spend more time between the matches to disinfect. They're not going to be allowed to shake hands at the start of a match. Again, 2 reasons for that. You can't obey the social distancing, and the whole physical touching is how the virus spreads. You are not allowed to trade within venues. You need to pretty much keep your cards to yourself. understandable because, everyone's probably done it. They probably sneezed at one point, touched their cards, and I think on cardboard-based surfaces, don't quote me on this, that the virus can live up to 3 days. That's why, even in the UK, what they advise is if you get a package through the post, don't touch it, or if you do touch it, have a dedicated place for it, and immediately then sanitize your hands. Don't open it for a couple of days, and also there aren't going to be any spectators. It's only the only people who are going to be allowed at the events are the people who are taking part. It is going to make it a little bit more lonely because it's literally just you and your opponent. No one helping to kind of support you, but in these kind of unprecedented times, it's just kind of necessary. About the ranked events, so this will be quite interesting. For the current period, April to the end of June, all local and national rankings will be null and no special playmats will be handed out. So essentially this section of the season is basically cancelled out. The opponents do not get the option for last cut. There's nothing you can do about it. You cannot touch your opponent's cards. If you are concerned about banished or graveyard cards and such, ask your opponent to show and disclose contents. Again, the cardboard can have the virus up to 3 days on it. So at least if you're asking your opponent, because it's their cards, I am a little concerned on the basis of cards that require, and I don't think they've actually mentioned this, about if you have a card effect that lets you use one of your opponent's cards, are they going to have to put that on your field? Or if it's a card that has to go into your hand, does it get put on the side? Maybe just to say, okay, you can activate it, but you need to tell me when you activate it because I will need to activate it rather than you physically touch it, because at the end of the day, it's their card, even though you're using it from another effect. You still, need to respect it's someone else's property. Of course, don't go to the events if you're feeling sick. Chances are it might not be the coronavirus. You might just be run down. People at the moment are kind of mistaking symptoms of coronavirus, such as sneezing, and it actually ends up being something like hay fever. Pollen season, I get it quite bad. So I know how it feels when you get an outbreak and you start going into like these sneezing fits. It's not pleasant, and in this type of situation, people are very much like, he's sneezing, he's diseased, type of thing. And to request people to kind of follow the orders of the store staff. This makes sense because what they're trying to do is keep everyone as safe as possible whilst trying to have as much fun as possible within this situation. There is nothing they can kind of do more than that, and it just makes things run a little bit smoother if everyone cooperates. Of course, if you fail to cooperate, depending on the environment, if it's a tournament, they'll just get security guards to actually take you out and remove you, which, no one can you can't complain. And if it's like a local tournament, they might just get their staff to say, look, you're not following the rules. We have to consider the rest of the people who are in this tournament. So just don't be stupid about it. Just do it as they ask. If you do that, chances are you're going to have an okay time. You might not have the same kind of experience, but at least you get to continue playing Yu-Gi-Oh for a bit, rather than just kind of sitting in your bedroom. What do you guys think about this situation? Do you think they need to actually specify some more rules? Are there more things they need to do? For example, I spoke about how are you going to be able to kind of use your opponent's cards if you have a card effect which does this. How is that interaction going to happen? Is there anything else you're quite worried about? leave your comments down below, like the video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe.